Virgo, welcome to your hopes, fears, and reality spread. I apologize as my postings have fallen off of my weekly schedule. I will be posting sporadically for the next month or so, as I am desperately trying to relocate. So, we'll just play it by ear and do what we can. This is interesting. We have two cards of very different actions, one in the upright and one in the inverse. This right here is throwing yourself into your work. Really finding solace in your vocation, in your hobby, really just working diligently at working diligently at something and finding a sense of peace in it, finding a sense of accomplishment in it, and kind of blocking everything else out. And here we have a card of action, of forward movement in the inverse. So it kind of feels to me like you're hoping to throw yourself into your work because you don't want to pay attention to anything else. Like you just want to put those blinders on and focus on the one thing that you know you have some sort of control over. Some sort of, like you can control how much you produce. What you're going to get out of that, you don't know, but you just want to often, and this is kind of the feeling I'm getting, often when things aren't going well in your personal life, you will throw yourself into work. Does that make sense? And that's what I feel you're hoping to do. You're hoping to throw yourself into work so you could ignore whatever else this is that isn't moving forward. And in the fear, it's like letting go of the values of the tribe is a big fear of yours, although you may see it as something necessary. So this can represent a group or an institution, but it's mostly group thinking. It's a group or an idea that a whole bunch of people are buying into, right? And that might be how you got where you are. You assumed you needed a certain something. You assumed you needed a relationship. You assumed you needed a family. You assumed you needed the perfect job, the, two cars, the house, whatever it was. And so you worked and worked and worked towards that. But here, you're recognizing that that might be somebody else's dreams and somebody else's values, and the idea that you might want to let go of these things is very, very scary to you. It's interesting that I get both a hope and a fear in your hope and your fear category. So you're hoping to ignore what isn't working, right? And when we look what isn't working, when we look at the fear, it's like everybody else's value system isn't serving you anymore. So, but you're hesitating to act on that. You're just kind of turning away and going, well, I'll just focus on something else. I'll just distract myself from this. The reality of the situation is that something from your past makes you recognize your power. It's almost like maybe it's the opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite. Something within your power is making you recognize the simplicity of your past. There's an innocence that's missing. It could be that to buy into this particular value system, other people's ideas of who you should be and what you should expect out of life has made you forget the simpler times that you came from. You know, chasing after certain material things or needing to be in a particular relationship just doesn't seem conducive to what you felt was very important to you some time ago. You're kind of wondering in the reality here. It's like you knowing that you have control over what happens and that you can change the environment that you're in, because that's what the Queen of Wands is all about. She's about adapting to new environments. So knowing that in your power you can change the environment that you're in, it's almost like you're looking to your childhood and saying, you know, would my 10-year-old self be proud of me right now? You know, maybe at the age 10, you built a rocket ship out of a cardboard box and thought you would be an astronaut, and now you work in an office. Do you see my point? The you who sits in your power now is looking back to the dreams you had as a kid, thinking, is it too late to make those dreams happen? And have I been chasing other people's dreams for too long? You don't want to be somebody else's knight in shining armor. That's not who you want to be. It's who you've become, you know. You've become the person that saves everybody, fixes everybody's problems, the person everybody comes to when they need something. But it isn't who you set out to be, it's just who you became based on the needs of a group. Somewhere deep inside, you're wondering, because this is about whimsical dreaming, you know? This guy is holding a cup of water and there's a fish in there. What an amazing surprise to just get a fish. So, can you surprise yourself by finding that fish, by finding that seed, and becoming someone your 10-year-old self would be proud of? So I guess the big question here isn't who do you want to be, because you have a general idea of some of the changes you want to make. But if you're throwing yourself into work to avoid these kinds of changes, what are you throwing yourself into work for to avoid? Maybe that's the next step. Virgo, this is one of those readings where I leave you with more questions than answers. But perhaps these are questions that need to be asked. So if you're throwing yourself into work to avoid something, what is it you're trying to avoid? And if everybody else's value system doesn't make sense to you anymore, and you're looking to a simpler time, what value system do you want to create? And why is it easier for you to save everybody else than to follow your own dreams? Virgo, I hope you found a message that served your highest good, or rather, I hope you found a question that will lead you to an answer that will help propel you forward in the evolution of your life. I'll see you next time. Good luck.